You're watching That Lovell-Boland Life.
And today we're going through our favourite drinks in Singapore.
Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam and this is my wife Rianne.
Now we know that Singaporeans and people who live in Singapore love to talk about food.
But there's also a wide variety of drinks available inspired by a melting pot of cultures.
Yep, so today we're going through our favourite die must-try drinks that you can find at many hawker centres here. But before we get into it, please do give this video a big thumbs up and do consider subscribing if you haven't already. Right, let's get into it.
Number 1 on the list, TARIK. Now this really was love at first taste for me. I remember so vividly the first cup of TARIK I had back in Malaysia. I think it was around 2013 in Mubins in Damansara Heights, and I think it was about $1. Now the thing for me, I have to have it kosong now. I have to have it empty, no sugar. But I remember the first times I had it, it was so sweet and so nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing about TARIK is actually it comes from the dust of tea and then it's mixed with some spices, and tarik means pull. So when you see people pulling it, they're putting it from one cup to another to cool it down and actually create a really frothy top. Number 2 on the list is HALIA. So HALIA is essentially Malaysian and Singaporean's version of ginger tea. It's very, very similar to TARIK. It also comes with condensed milk and is also poured the same way. So it has the theatrics and also has the frothy top.
Number 3 on the list, NESLO. Now NESLO is actually Nescafe coffee with Milo, which is the chocolate malt drink. But the thing is with us is we don't really know the origins of Milo. Some people say it's Malaysian, some people say it's Singaporean, but I think it's actually Australian. But NESLO has its origins in the hawker centres where they mix it up, and it is such a nice drink. If you need that hit from the coffee, it gives you that. If you need the sweetness from the chocolate, it gives you that, and that's why it's one of my favourite drinks.
Yeah, and who doesn't love coffee and chocolate? Number 4 on the list is KOPI SIEW. So KOPI is a huge part of Singaporeans and Malaysians' DNA. You'll see them every morning with their kopi, and it's really interesting. It's very different to what like Western coffee. I think Robusta beans are used, and it's also brewed through like a sock strainer with a really tall metal kettle. It's really quite interesting to see. So for me, like Sam said, I can't have it kosong with the TARIK. I'm not quite at that level yet. I'm at KOPI SIEW, which means less sweet.
Next on the list is mango lassi. Now for me, this drink is really like a mango milkshake. It's so nice, so cold, so refreshing. Traditionally, it's out of India, it's out of Pakistan, but I think it's really spread all across the world. When we lived in England, we could get it. But if you're here in Singapore, I think go down to Little India, get the mango lassi. If it's really hot outside, treat yourself to a salty lassi and you will not go wrong.
Number 6 on the list is Bandung. So we first tried this our first week into moving to Malaysia, which was back in 2015. And one of our friends said, you have to try this drink. You would never tried anything like it. And it's essentially like a rose syrup mixed with evaporated or condensed milk. So it's got that creaminess, that rose flavor. And we were like, oh my gosh, I don't think we liked it to begin with. It was really unusual like flavor for us, but it's become something that I really enjoy, and one of my very, very good friends here in Singapore absolutely loves it. They try it any place it turns up, even in cocktails. So you can see how much like a big drink this is here in both Singapore and Malaysia.
Next up, it's an all-time Singapore favourite, bubble tea. Astonishingly, there are about 61 different bubble tea brands here in Singapore. And you know what? I can kind of believe it because Singaporeans love bubble tea. Every time you go to the MRT, you go to the malls, anywhere, there's always a massive queue for bubble tea. And you know, I really like it. We had it yesterday, the day before we filmed this. It's basically a milk tea. You've got your tapioca pearls. It is refreshing, but it's also really really nice.
Yeah, because it's kind of a drink and a snack in one. But you know, as Sam said, it is so popular that it recently got brought up in Parliament that they might regulate the number of bubble tea shops coming up in Singapore. So I guess we're gonna have to watch that space. Number 8 on the list is LIMAU Assam Boy, also known as lime with sour plum. So I think the previous drinks we talked about are all real classics, but for me, this has to be one of my favorites. So it's actually made with LIMAU Kasturi, which is the small calamansi limes, and also a sour plum, which is dried. I could show you right now because I have some right here, but they are dried with, I don't even know what the sourness is, but it's so refreshing in the hawker centers when you've been on like a long hike, or you know, you've just had some really spicy like makan and then you're gonna have your sour drink. It's so refreshing, and I always ask with like no sugar.
Next up, one of my hawker favorites, it's green apple with YAKULT. So we first discovered this at Beauty World Plaza Hawker Centre, right at the top of Beauty World Plaza. It was after a hike. I was looking for a refreshing drink. I love the apple juice there, but I saw they had YAKULT. It was on the list, $3.30 to put it together, and I loved it from the moment I had it. It's got that real sweetness to it, but it's got the nice taste from the YAKULT. And when they put it all together, you've got the green apple at the bottom, you've got the purple from the YAKULT, you mix it all together and it is divine.
I have to say, it's so aesthetically pleasing to see the two different colours. When you first brought it over, I was like, what is this? Because it's not really a thing anywhere else apart from maybe hawker centres, and as Sam said, really delicious. Number 10 on our list is Tiger Beer Orchid Brew. Now, of course, we couldn't have a list and not mention Tiger Beer, which is Singapore's very own beer brand. But the Orchid Brew was initially launched as a limited edition. And Singapore, of course, its national flower is the orchid, and it's actually infused into the beer, so it has more of a floral and citrus note to it. And it also has a really strong message behind it because it was meant to promote togetherness and to bloom as one.
And we actually drank this beer on one of our National Day videos when we were eating the McDonald's National Day burger, and I have to say that was the first time we tried it, and it kind of blows the original Tiger out the window, but I would put that all aside. I really like the Tiger Orchid Brew, not so much a fan of the original Tiger. My favourite alcoholic drink is Guinness, as you can see here. But I just wanted to ask a question because I remember sitting in the hawker centre and there's this old uncle. He had a bottle of Guinness, he also had a bottle of Heineken, and he was getting them both, pouring them in, drinking it as one drink. So I wanted to ask, is that Singapore's national drink? I don't know what you'd call it, whether it would be a Heininess or a Guinneken or something like that, but is that the national drink of Singapore?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were both enthralled to see it. Maybe it's sort of like NESLO, like the Nestle Milo mix, and that's Singapore's version. So yeah, do let us know in the comments. And have you ever tried it? Is it worth? Should we try it? I mean, that's something that we'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed our list of our favourite drinks to find in Singapore.
Yeah, definitely put in the comments your favourite drinks. If we have missed anything of our list, don't shout at us because we've only been here 5 years. There's so much more to discover. But as Rianne said, we really hope you enjoyed this video.
And do subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a big thumbs up. And we'll catch you on the next one.